What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Too Much to Watch. I am your host, Sean. I've been a little bit again. Took another little break. I'm just trying to think of some good videos to do as they come on this channel, but I don't think there's a bigger movie at the moment to talk about than the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. I know I'm probably even a little bit behind on this one. There was a flood of millions of YouTube videos talking about people's reviews and thoughts on the movie, and I kind of wanted to do the same. I finally got a chance to watch it, all 4 hours and 2 minutes of it. So I kind of wanted to just jump on here, give some of my thoughts, my review, kind of where the Snyderverse stands, at least to me, and what I think kind of can going forward, and really what. How it all kind of came together and what we saw and kind of some ideas. So I wanted to give, just my reviews, my thoughts about leading up to it happening now that it's out. What are we thinking? What's the thoughts? So here we go. You are well aware of DC and Warner's versions and visions of their universe, their MCU of DC, right? We know the history of it. Zack Snyder starts the whole their whole movie universe off with Man of Steel, to some critical success, some box office success, but to some a little underwhelming. I personally think it's a great movie. I do enjoy Henry Cavill as Superman, and I thought I should probably go ahead and say that I am overall a fan of Zack Snyder's work. I think he's somewhat divisive of a filmmaker now that we've had a pretty solid. He's had a pretty solid career of big budget films and what he can do with movies, what he can do with his vision, his visionary style, or his visual style. So he's had a pretty decent track record, but he can be divisive, and I'll give my thoughts on kind of him as a whole when in regards to big budget movies and things like that. But so they continue with these movies. Wonder Woman's in development, all kinds of things are in development. Basically, they're trying to catch that Marvel money. They're trying to catch that movie universe of films. DC, another comic book series of comics with Justice League and Wonder Woman and all these, and Superman and Batman and all these great things that they have. And as these movies unfold and as these movies come out, the critical success really falters. It's nowhere near the critical darlings that Marvel movies are. Marvel has a formula, like it or not, it works. Most of those movies are billion-dollar movies, well received both by critics and fans, and there you go. DC, from the get-go, really has a hard time putting this together. To me, at least, I'll go ahead and say now, I don't think Warner's and DC really ever meshed with the kind of the vision that they wanted. Marvel is definitely the more bombastic, the more fun, serious, but not as serious at times. But definitely some movies, Thor Ragnarok, incredibly comical. You go to the Captain Americas with a little more serious political dramas and thrillers. All these different things, and DC seems to have they're kind of stuck. They don't really know what to do. They're coming off of the critical success of the Nolan trilogy, which is an incredibly serious Batman portrayal of Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan, and of course the performance of Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. So to me at least, they try to recreate some of that success with the seriousness and the more gritty. If you remember early on, Christopher Nolan is the producer of Man of Steel and still somewhat behind the scenes of the DC universe. Giving the reins over to Zack Snyder is both good and bad. Give you a little context there. Batman v Superman, pretty much a critical bomb. Successful, I believe, as far as box office goes, but a critical failure. Very not well received, to say the least, both by fans and critics. And then we get the drama of the Justice League. They kind of limp into the Justice League. Big superhero team up. The DC Avengers. Here you go. in the history of that, we know is Zack Snyder has to leave the project. About 90% of the movie's filmed and ready to go. They bring in Joss Whedon. Obviously, we're seeing some issues now, some revelations coming to light of how Joss Whedon operates. But the Whedon cut, the theatrical cut, is another critical bomb. Very uneven movie, a lot of mess. Yes, there are some cool action scenes, but overall, the substances really is not there. Which is a shame because, again, Justice League should be, in theory, a good thing. If they would just have cut and pasted from what Marvel done and made their own few little tweaks, I think we would have had a better universe going forward. But so Joss Whedon comes on, cuts his own things, makes his own changes, and the Justice League comes out. The fervor underneath there goes to that there's a Snyder cut. Zack Snyder, of course, cut. Again, I said 90% of the film was done and filmed, and yada yada yada, as the Seinfeld reference goes, yada yada yada. March 18th of 2021, we get the Snyder Cut on HBO Max. And right off the bat, I will say, if you want to stop the video, go ahead. This movie is far and away a better movie than the theatrical Whedon cut of the Snyder or the Justice League. It is a 4-hour long movie. I had to watch it in about 3 bursts because life. But this is far and away a much, much better movie. The vision, not to say that it's a perfect movie by any means. It is not. 4 hours, it's plain old. Any wonderfully made movie is still going to be very long and have some slogs in it when you're 4 hours. And for me, the first act definitely drags. However, the first act is so much better and well done than what they had produced on the big screen for the theatrical Whedon cut. Specifically in the character development of the Flash and Cyborg. But the Flash to me was more glaring. I think Ray Fisher's Cyborg is wonderfully done. He really gives a good performance there. The humanity of what basically a dead human being with issues, with his family and his father, to being basically literally a cyborg. And what he does, he essentially is the heart of the movie. He's the literal key to everything, with his work with the mother boxes at the end. But to me, in seeing and remembering what was done about the Flash in the theatrical cut versus this Snyder cut is far and away the biggest difference, and so much better. The Flash in the Whedon cut is so reliant on the comic relief. He is a bumbling buffoon in that movie. And it's really, really, really disheartening to know what was actually filmed of Ezra Miller's Flash to what we saw originally, and now what we get to see. The performance is 10 times better. In the Whedon cut, he's a bumbling buffoon. He's scared to fight. And again, he's a kid. He's a teenager. Or he's a younger guy that has to be a superhero. So of course he's going to be scared and nervous, and he's not as seasoned as, say, Ben Affleck's Batman. We know that Batman's been doing it for about 20 years in this world. Far and away a better performance and a better portrayal of this character that literally trips in the Whedon cut, literally trips on almost everything, and we're supposed to believe that's funny, that the Flash is so fast, and he trips. I did enjoy it at the end of the Whedon cut, who's faster, the Flash or Superman, and that was actually somewhat cool. Don't really necessarily get a resolution, but it's a kind of a cool concept. But I think he trips once in this, and that's the whole fight when they resurrect Superman in this movie. Again, I didn't say it earlier, but spoilers are kind of out the door because we've seen a cut of this already many years ago. So, but as they resurrect Superman, and they're all, Superman kind of doesn't know what's going on and sees them as a threat. and the Flash does trip, but he's not scared to fight in this. He's fighting alongside his team. He does again trip, but it's not played for laughs. It's played for the power of Superman, and I really, really appreciated that. And it was a real, real shame. Not to say that would have made the Whedon cut so much better, but I think that making a character a complete and utter imbecile for most of that movie, really did him a disservice, and it was a real shame that it was done that way. I'll say that I think Ben Affleck's a great Batman. Is a real shame that we're not going to see a Ben Affleck directed and portrayed and written version of his Batman. I do enjoy his Batman. I think unfortunately it's a product of what the DC universe ended up putting out, and it's a real shame that we don't get to see that. Gal Gadot does a real great job again as Wonder Woman, and Diana Prince. I don't recall there being such a massive change in her character. I think they did her fairly decent in the Whedon cut, and again here too, she's a great actress, great portrayal as Wonder Woman. So I'll give it that. The Darkseid stuff and the Steppenwolf stuff is just much more fleshed out. They really relied on Steppenwolf being the big bad in the Whedon cut with a couple of mentions of Darkseid, and now we really see the true power of Darkseid and what the mother boxes are about, and the CGI seems better. Again, it's probably stuff you've heard already in reviews. Again, I am a little late to this, but wanted to give my thoughts, and I just... It's a real shame, and I think overall this movie again is much, much better than what was originally presented to us as fans. I'll say, and I won't say necessarily this is such an original thought, but I really thought about this later on. I don't think that Zack Snyder. I don't think he's a director anymore that can really get notes from a studio, right? He's going to make a vision. He's going to have a vision, whether you like it or not. If you're not here to play with the Zack Snyder versions of things, then don't sign him up. But, I mean, he had a lot of success with 300, with the Dawn of the Dead movie many years ago. But I think from there, it's very divisive of what he does and what he is. He's a visionary director for sure. But I think he's got somewhat of an uncompromising vision that to tell Zack Snyder to make a under 2-hour movie, which again, we understood to be kind of the directive from Warner Brothers and DC. The movie had to be under 2 hours. He doesn't work like that. If you remember Watchmen, if he had done the movie adaptation of The Watchmen, that is a almost 3-hour movie, and they cut out and separated the Black Freighter comic section of that comic book and that movie. There is somewhere a complete Watchmen cut, which I think is about 3.5 hours. The original director's cut of Batman vs Superman is 3+ hours. Again, makes it a little bit better of a movie, but I think if you're a movie studio and you're going to give Zack Snyder a bunch of money to make something, I think you need to let him make it. If not, move on, find somebody who can. But I think we're in this realm of like Zack Snyder like cutting down his movies, and they kind of don't make sense, and especially giving it to a director that can do comic book movies. We've seen, Joss Whedon's work with the Avengers. But I think that there is an issue there with not letting Zack Snyder do that. Not to say that he is making critical darlings all over the place and billion-dollar blockbusters all the time, so you do have to rein somebody in. But I think if you're going to make something with him, I think you have to let him through his vision. Because, again, I think this is a very jarring reminder of what visionaries kind of go through and make. Again, I think from the get-go, DC didn't do a great job of really messaging their movies or messaging their universe. Some of the other outlying movies, I won't say outliers, but like Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Shazam are great movies and aren't really connected to what he was trying to do, and it shows. And they're good movies. Some of them from good to really good. So it kind of depends on what you want. in a DC universe. And I feel like Warner's and DC really kind of need to go back to the drawing board, figure out what they want to do. They seem to kind of already maybe separating some stuff. The Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix is very separate from everything. A lot of rumors and things and speculation, but it really does seem like the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman is going to be kind of separated from that as well. So there's a lot going on over at the Warners and DC lots and making these movies. But I do believe that not getting this original cut of this movie, it probably still wouldn't be well received because, again, Zack Snyder is somewhat of a divisive director and divisive, visionary. But I feel like it would have been much better received than Whedon. That's my personal opinion. So I really enjoyed this movie. It's 4 hours. I don't know that I'll be sitting down and watching it again anytime soon. I think if you have HBO Max and you enjoy superhero movies and things, I think you definitely should give this a look. I would imagine this is going to come off of HBO Max as some of these first-run movies. I know they're doing King Kong now. Mortal Kombat's coming out. They'll probably pull this off as well, so you only have a little bit amount of time before that goes away. You might have to go get it on Blu-ray or 4K or have it come back on HBO. But if you have HBO right now and you haven't sat down to watch it and you come across my video and you say, hey, too much to watch, Sean, what do you think? I think you should give it a shot. I think it's actually a pretty good movie. That's my thoughts. That's my kind of overall arcing on the Justice League, kind of what Zack Snyder's about, what Warner's is doing. And I just think there's some opportunities there they need to learn from on this. And any really movie studio needs to learn on Zack Snyder. He's going to make the movie he wants to make. And if it's not for you, don't let him do it, because we're going to end up with all these different Snyder cuts and all this stuff. So those are my thoughts. This video has run a little bit longer than I wanted to, and I apologize for that, but I feel like it's good information. I hope you come by and give this a like, subscribe to the channel, comment on what you think this video is all about, what you thought of the Justice League, what you think of Zack Snyder, anything you want to add about what we're talking about. So I really appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day, and hope to see you again soon. Peace.